We've developed a framework. I've used this for a while in the business. It's called VOC, Voice of Customer. Get them to feel like they are heard while also collecting great market research data we can use in future campaigns and marketing assets. I've seen situations when we've used this framework and we've talked to customers and the outcome is So I've been working with a client, and recently he's received some negative feedback from some of his buyers, his customers or clients. It's never anything you want to hear, right? It kind of makes you feel sick to your stomach. And so I think about this particular client. We've been working together for a while, and this is a recent occurrence. And so the first thing that comes to mind is, well, why? Why is this happening? And I think about what the client has done over the past 6 months, and he's taken himself out of the process. And no fault to him, right? He is the business owner. He can make his decisions and executive control there. But since he was so integral to the consulting and coaching, then it has allowed his fulfillment to decline. So simple as that, right? We've got the business owner, and the business owner decides to take a step back from being involved in the day-to-day fulfillment of the service and put some other people in place, and these other people are not performing as well as the business owner. Classic scenario. So what do? Well, we've developed a framework. I've used this for a while in the business. It's called VOC, Voice of Customer, or Voice of Client. I just call it Voice of Customer for simplicity's sake. Voice of Customer. And this framework allows us to go in and get real feedback from our clients, our customers, existing, past, or even current buyers in the business. And this is important because we want to go in and we want to go in objectively unbiased if we can and say, hey, look, I know this is not ideal for you, but we're working to solve it. We're putting forth the effort. This is white glove treatment for you because we're hearing you. We understand. We're listening. So we want to solve it. And when I think about this framework, to use this phrase, it kills a couple birds with one stone. Meaning, it allows us to act as, hey, we're coming in, we want to solve this. Act as almost like the hero for this situation, and get them to basically tell us everything that's going on. But it also allows us to collect market research data. So we never want to do anything that we are able to for just one purpose. So yes, it allows us to be seen as caring, which is true, right? We stay ethical with that, but it allows us to craft our messaging and hone it in even further. So I've seen situations when we've used this framework and we've talked to customers, and the outcome is, yes, the customer feels better. We're actively solving it, but we've improved our ads. We've improved our email copy. So I want to take some time today to go through the questions with you because I think this is valuable. I'm sure you've received maybe a poor review in your time, and how can we get out in front of it? How can we talk to that customer or client who left that poor feedback for whatever reason and get them to feel like they are heard while also collecting great market research data we can use in future campaigns and marketing assets? So with that being said, let me pull up the doc here. And as you can tell, I'm in the middle of this doc. The sections before this go into the why, but I just explained that. So to not be redundant, we're jumping straight into the interview or survey questions. So why interview or survey? Well, I say interview because that's the most important thing you could do. One-on-one interviews, one-on-one sessions or Zoom meetings with the client or customer that is having the issue. Or you could send out a bulk blast survey. That is not as personal, that's not as white glove, but if the situation is appropriate, then you can always send out a survey. Hey, we want to get your feedback, like that type of stuff. So I divide this into a couple sections here. Number one is before they purchased. What are their thoughts, feelings, their state before they purchased from you? Next is during the fulfillment of the product or service that you sell. How was it going through your process? And if they're currently going through it, well, great. If they've already gone through it, well, great. And then next is post fulfillment, or where they are now. What's the current state? So let's start with the before they purchased. We lead in with a question of what challenges or frustrations or roadblocks were you facing, were impacting your business or personal life. Now, of course, be natural with these questions. Do not say, how are these challenges impacting your business and or personal life? Like, don't be a robot. Come on now. Think about what they have bought from you. Was it a business type of improvement offer? Was it something that could improve their personal life? If you're just selling business services, well, don't talk about their personal life unless it's relevant, right? But from there, we can ask questions such as, what problems were you trying to solve by engaging with us or by buying from us? What are the solutions? This is important. What are the solutions, if any, did you try before working with me or us? That's a powerful question because we want to see what they had already tried, what they have already gone through before they bought from us. 9 times out of 10, I've seen this unlock some really great messaging here. For example, if you're selling something related to fitness, well, they've most likely tried a diet. They've most likely tried going to the gym. Well, why didn't that work? And so that's the next question. Why didn't those solutions work for you? What other options did you explore? Can you tell me a little bit more? Well, I actually tried one of those vibrating ab bracelets. It didn't work. Well, why didn't it work? Because it's crap. Well, we all knew that. But from there, you can say, what hooked you in? What ultimately made you say yes to working with us? Was there a specific moment, a feature, or result? And so when you're asking these questions, you want them to go back in time. Sometimes I have found that it's hard for them to go back in time for whatever reason, right? People's memories aren't great. What did you have for breakfast, 3 Tuesdays ago? I don't know. So you want to get them in a state of, oh man, I'm going back. I feel that pain again. Well, luckily, it's, fingers crossed, hopefully it's already solved for them, or you can help them solve it further. And, here's another good one. Did you search for anything in Google? What kind of phrases were you searching for? I haven't found people to really remember this one, but there's always that one-off case of they really remember, and man, that's great keyword targeting for you. Okay, so before they purchase, put them in a state of past tense. Put them in a state of, what was the pain point? What was I going through before that? Now, during fulfillment. So this is when you are fulfilling on the product or service that you've sold them. Basically, they're going through your process. They're going through your timeline. What's going on? So during fulfillment, what is their experience, or what was their experience like going through your product or service? What were your initial impressions? How was onboarding? Did you feel like you were, welcomed? You could get tactical or granular with this question and say, what did you think of the welcome kit I sent you, or welcome box, or gift box, or handwritten letter? Did you like that? Was that necessary? What did you think of that? Did the process meet your expectations based on other things you've bought in similar categories or from similar businesses or even competitors? Did it meet your expectations? If not, what could we do better? And this is a fun one. This also goes back to the welcome box or gift box. Were there any unexpected surprises, good or bad, during this time? And from there, talk about the level of support. How often were you communicated with? Did you like that? Was it too much, too little? Did you ever feel stuck anywhere? Did you ever feel like you were left to your own devices? Just kind of, whoa, I don't really know what's going on. So I'm going to take a pause here and talk about this, because you might be thinking, well, Daniel, if I start with before fulfillment and really hit on their pain points, isn't that going to make the problem worse? Well, maybe. Um, it really depends, and that's why I said in the beginning, be natural, make it relevant, make it appropriate. If this is a customer or client that you're in triage mode with, it's like, hey, I'm disputing my charge. I need a refund. I'm ready to pull the trigger on a dispute. Well, be appropriate with it. You don't have to jump into, well, how was it like before working with us? Tell me about the pains. Like, you can jump right into fulfillment and craft these questions around the feedback you want to receive. Hey, David, I know this is difficult right now. I want to solve this. I, as the business owner, or I, as the VP of, or, ideally it's someone high level or the business owner asking these questions, but I want to solve this and I want to know that you are heard. So tell me about this. I want to go through the entire process during fulfillment. Tell me about onboarding. Was there anything that we could have done better? Is there anything that you really liked that we did? Tell me about this specific section of your service. Tell me about this part of the timeline. Tell me about this end goal. Did you achieve the outcomes? Did you hit your targets? Did we help you do that? Well, why or why not? So be appropriate with it. Don't dump gasoline on the fire, right? But if you can, get the info about before fulfillment. And if this is just you talking to a customer who's satisfied, oh my gosh, by all means, go through these questions in full. So next, we want to jump to now their current state. So ideally, they've gotten some sort of result, and ideally it's a good result. But again, if they're in triage mode, if they're in like, oh my gosh, my world is burning down, I'm ready to dispute this with the company, with you, then be appropriate with it. So, talk about some stuff related to results, measurable results and outcomes. How have you achieved this? What have you gone through? What kind of benefits have you received from the company? And again, if they're very disgruntled, I want you to spend more time on the during fulfillment, but also in this section want you to talk about what are the good things. Yes, I know we have not done XYZ or it's not hit your targets, but tell us about some of the good things. Again, you don't have to use all these questions. Be natural with it, but this is just a good bank that you can go throughout. So is there anything that you wish we could have included? Is there anything that you would consider us the best at or only at? That's a favorite question of mine because this gets them thinking outside of any sort of disgruntlement. What would you consider us the best at? Well, apart from all the issues we've already talked about, you're really great at teaching people how to stay compliant in this crazy industry. Or you're really great at teaching or showing or helping me with honing in my message or providing this specific thing at the end of the service. Nobody ever does that. So that question kind of kicks them out of negative mindset and puts them in positive mindset. I think of it like a defibrillator almost. But then, would you recommend this service to others? Why or why not? Shift it and word that question appropriately. But, this is a chance for you to kind of finish it up. If they're in triage mode, right? You can say, okay, based on everything you've told me, this is why you wouldn't recommend us to others. Is there anything that I'm missing? Is there anything that I can do or that I can know about to improve? Or is there anything I can take up to the business owner that'll help us improve? We want to actively solve this. But again, if they're a satisfied client, hey, what would you say to someone else? What would you say to your colleague? Or what would you say to someone else in the target market that, you would recommend, excuse me, that you would use to recommend us to others? How would you craft that connection email? And if they give a good enough response, you can immediately lean into, well, Are there 2 or 3 people that you could connect us with? That is an A+ way to get referrals for free, right? The goal of this is to get real world feedback and market research. But the cherry on top is you can get referrals from this. And I've actually seen in some cases where this works so well, this script, you can use this script to then pop someone out of triage mode. Oh my gosh, this sucks. I haven't. And actually turn them into a referral source. So again, I want you to think appropriately through these questions. You don't have to use all of them, but think about it from the perspective of your customer or client, right? You want to get feedback. That's the primary goal here. You want someone to know that you care, that they're being heard, that they're being listened to, and not just in the form of rate us on a scale of 1 to 10. NPS, Net Promoter Score, has a time and a place. This is not for that. This is getting real nitty gritty in the process, and this is the gritty work that works wonders for businesses. This separates the great from the good. So I hope this helped. If you have any questions about this, or if you want this document, I'm happy to send it to you. Hope this helps, and I'd love to hear your feedback on how you've conducted some feedback sessions. All right. Hey, Daniel Pope here. Real quick, I want to give you a huge thanks for listening. If you're enjoying it, I'd love it if you share with others. That's how I get the word out, by you sharing it with somebody that could really benefit from this. Now, I started this podcast to stand out above the noise, to give real growth tactics in a crazy world when others may give some misinformation or not cover everything you need to know. That's not my MO. My MO is being able to give back, being able to help others see what they actually need to do in order to grow. And that's why personally, my company, Be Known, we don't offer any courses or coaching programs. We're a done-for-you service provider because we know in this world, sometimes people just need a helping hand, a connected team, and an expert to be there every step of the way. So again, I really appreciate you listening, and talk to you soon.